Hi, everybody. In this video, I want to walk through and hit some of the highlights of the syllabus just to make sure we're on the same page for some key points. I'm not going to read it line by line, boring, and you can do that on your own. Okay, but want to make sure we're on the same page again for some key points. First, best way to get hold of me is through email. There's my email address, craig.mason@maine.edu. I get lots of emails every day, so as I've talked about elsewhere, if you email me and you don't hear back in a day or two, shoot me another email. Once you fall off that list of 50, the top 50, the most recent 50 in Gmail, it'll take a while to bubble up. It doesn't offend me, doesn't bother me if you follow up and poke me again. Just don't take it personally if it happens to you. Okay. Office hours are Wednesday, 5 to 7 on Zoom. Now, sometimes I'll be in my office as well. And if you're on campus, you can come by. Great. Happy to see you. But check with me first. Email me first before you make a special trip out or even walk across campus to see if I'm there because I probably won't be. But in case, I'm happy to meet with you in my office. Okay. Our course is designed for, oops, our course is really aimed for consumers of research rather than people that are gonna, this is not, we're not gonna learn how to develop a research question, design your thesis, collect the data, analyze your, it's not that course. This is for people to be informed consumers of research, to learn how to find how to find research, how to evaluate the journal research articles or sources of information from the research, and how to understand what are the strengths and weaknesses of different types of research studies. So we're targeting consumers of research, so you can be a knowledgeable, informed consumer of research. Okay, oh gosh, what's going this? I need to be careful. I'm just jumping too much here. We have a required textbook. It's listed right here. Make sure you get the 7th edition because that includes information that's not in the 6th edition that we will talk about, or I will talk about in videos and stuff, and, and on the quizzes. So make sure you get the correct edition. It can be the paper version, it can be electronic. That's up to your personal preferences. The courses were asynchronous online, so we are heavily in Brightspace. You've got to be comfortable using Brightspace to do this course. Everything is submitted through Brightspace, so that's important. Grades. Um, uh, our grades are based on a total of 600 points with a 90, 80, 70 cutoffs. I've got it all spelled out here so that you can kind of see what grades you need, what's the minimum grades you need for different grades. Um, the all your work again is submitted in Brightspace, and I've set it up that assignments are all due, at least for now, are all due on the Friday of each week of the corresponding week at 11:59 p.m. You're submitting these into Brightspace. So if it's late by like a minute, Brightspace will flag it as being late. So make sure you hit that no later than 11:59 p.m. on Friday of that corresponding week. Okay. Um, the activities, kind of what's your grade going to be based on? Um, we have got two things, very simple things that are due the second week of class, the end of the second week of class. Um, the first is a syllabus review. This is a quiz in Brightspace that just asks you some questions about the syllabus. It's my way of checking first that you've actually read the syllabus and that you understand a few points to make sure again that we're on the same page for how things work. But it also is my way of checking that you're able to access Brightspace, access quizzes, because if that's a problem, boy, we want to know now instead of waiting till you're halfway through the semester. So that's due on September 12th. The second one due the end of next week, or I should say the end of the second week of class, is a personal introduction. And this is just like if we were a live in-person class, we all go around, introduce ourselves. This is how we're doing it in an asynchronous, is how we do it in my asynchronous courses. You log in to a discussion forum in Brightspace that, and then just make a little posting, describe, tell us what your name is, what program you're in, what your plans are post graduation, and that can be, I don't know, I'm thinking about it. It's perfectly okay. Nothing too elaborate. Um, and one fun fact about yourself. Um, for example, my fun fact about me is I love Disney. My whole family loves Disney. In fact, you may see some Disney stuff behind me in the background. That'll come up throughout the semester at times. So, anything, any trivial thing that's a fun fact about you. Then, kind of the meat and potatoes of your grade are quizzes. We have 10 quizzes worth 40 points each, for a total of 400 points. They can include um, questions about the text, questions about the videos, other readings you may have. Um, they are potentially cumulative. I can go back to earlier material for a quiz. They are open book, which is great. And you can kind of use the book. You can use video slides. You can go back and watch a video a little bit if you're stuck in the middle of a quiz. That's okay. The um, there is a late penalty of 4 points every day or partial day that you're late. So make sure you hit that deadline at 11:59 p.m. on the Friday. Again, if it's 12:02 a.m. on Saturday, 4 points. Ouch. Um, the if you've got a if you've got questions during the quiz, it is okay to email me, ask me. I won't tell you the answer, but sometimes students think they can't ask a question about the quiz. That's okay. You can shoot me a question about it. But again, you want to kind of give yourself plenty of time. If you're doing this at the last minute and then a question comes up, you're not going to be able to get hold of me at 11 p.m. on the Friday that it's due. So take it, again, do give yourself plenty of time. You'll see in the schedule that we finish the material and the quizzes are due weeks later. So you got plenty of time to do those. Um, the one thing students really like is you can retake quizzes. I believe in mastery learning. So if you are unhappy about your grade, if you bomb the first time you submit it, you can redo it and improve your grade. Again, another reason you want to give yourself plenty of time to have that opportunity to redo it. Um, Now, there is a difference between scoring 100% the first time and scoring 100% the third time. So there's this adjustment that we talk about here. This second submission, we take whatever your score is, then -4 for your second submission. If you take a third submission, it's whatever your score is on that, -6 points. And the fourth or fifth or sixth or seventh, anything past the fourth or more, it's your total score -8. Now, and in the syllabus, I kind of give you some examples, but the key of this is if you end up taking it until you get 100%, all 40 points, -8 is the most you could ever get off for the redos. That's still 32, which is 80% out of the 40. You can always get at least a B minus on every single quiz just by giving yourself enough time to do the redos and the persistence to stick around till you get the 100% on it. You can always get at least a B minus. So again, stick with it. Give yourself time to take a quiz. If you're unhappy with the grade, reread the material. Oh, and pay attention to the feedback. I'll give you feedback in the quiz. When you've missed a question, I'll often say, watch that video again. Oh, it looks like you've missed this point. Read that section of the book. So I can help point you. So give yourself time to take advantage of that. Give yourself the time, complete the quiz far enough ahead that you can see what you've missed, reread the book, rewatch the videos, ask me questions like, okay, I missed this point. I'm kind of confused. Can you give me some help? Happy to do that. But it all comes down to build in the time, take advantage of the time that I give you plenty of time between covering the material and the quizzes so that you can do these redos. It always kind of kills me when I see students doing it at the evening of the due date, and they just don't have the time to do the redos. Ouch. Okay, now a natural question is, yes, but what if I do a redo and because of that adjustment, uh, oops, I get a lower score once you take the, no, your score will never go down with a redo. I want you to do the sometimes students will do a redo even though, they may have like a 39 and they've missed 1 point and it's like, oh, but I wanna see what the correct answer is. I wanna master the material. That's great. Go on and do it. And even with the adjustment, yeah, your score for that submission may go, but I always give you the highest score. You always get the highest score. So if you got 39 the first and then you redo the redo and you get it 100%, but now it's 36, you still get that original 39. Your score never goes down with a redo. There's no downside to doing it. Whichever submission has the highest is the score you get. I love it. I love it when I see students go back to master the material and stick with it till they get 100%. When they know it won't help their grades sometimes. Sometimes they know the redo isn't going to help their grade, but they want to master it. I love it when students do that. Um, it's a great way to impress your professors. Professors always like it when we see students that are really interested in mastering the content beyond just, I want to get a better grade. Okay, so that's it. There's no downside to doing the quizzes a second time. Okay. Now, you don't have to complete the quizzes in a single session. That's another question that often comes up. You can save your answers, close it, come back, and restart. That you can do that. Just don't submit it. If you submit it, then it's submitted and it's you're committed. So yes, you can. You don't have to finish them in one setting if you don't want to. Okay, so that's the quizzes. Uh, Now, um, early in the semester, we're going to learn how to find different research articles based on different topics that you may be interested in, or that maybe is a big issue going on at your school or something. And we're also going to learn how to evaluate the journals publishing those articles, kind of what's a good source, what's a questionable source. Now, students consistently tell me this is maybe the most important thing they picked up in this course. That it's a skill. These are tools that they can use in other courses. There's students that will already start using them in the course. They start using it because their school is looking at, oh, let's implement the Mason math program. So they're like looking up to find, has anybody ever actually evaluated this? Does this program actually help kids? So students often give me feedback that this has been it's a very valuable skill that they've picked up in this course. And like any skill, whether it's finding research articles or playing the piano or guitar, the best way to pick up skills is through practice. And so that's what these 8 exercises are. They are doing practice to find articles, evaluate journals, stay up to date on the literature, kind of as we go on to more courses or out in the real world or whatever. So that's what these all come down to. It's just practice over the course of the semester. That's my whole purpose of this. So, kind of part of that reflecting, I want you to get out there and practice with it. I know some students are a little stressed at the idea of using these and then finding stuff. And I'm going to ask you questions about kind of as you're doing the search. So some students are a little nervous about it, but don't worry. Don't worry because what I do as part of this is I'll make a video for each exercise where you can follow along with me and together we will do the entire exercise from start to finish together. Um, I will literally help you find every answer that you need to answer the exercise questions. So there's nothing to be worried about with this. Um, videos, if you watch the videos and do it with me, they're 15, 20, maybe 30 minutes for each exercise, but we'll do the whole exercise together because my purpose of this is I want you to spend the time doing the practice. That's what's most important, not the answers to the questions. The most important part of this is to do that practice. So 64, 68, 8 exercises, 8 points each, 64 points, but a very valuable skill that you'll pick up doing these. Okay. Then we have our weekly discussions. This starts in week 2, and it's kind of also really heavily, the way I've structured it is really heavily motivated by this desire to get student engagement. One of the things students early on when I started teaching asynchronous courses was students feeling disconnected. You don't get a chance to talk to each other like you do in a live course. So the way I've kind of over the years developed an approach that is actually more work on my end, but I think it works best this way, is I'm starting in week 2. You need to make 2 posts every week in a kind of a running, ongoing discussion forum. 2 posts every week. Now, those posts can be just about anything in some way related to kind of the research or the topics. It can be something that kind of caught your eye in the book or made you think about watching one of the videos, but it could be something you've read in the newspaper talking about something in some way with a research or educational practice sort of of lesson with it, that oh, here's some polls that someone's done and I kind of wonder about that. Anything. Students have talked about, oh, their school's implementing this program, but I don't see, does it work? Sort of questions. Um, I've had great conversations in these forums over the years that students will get. Now, that you need to do 2 posts every week. I don't want them to be long posts because that what they can remember. My purpose of this is I want you to engage with each other. 2 shorter posts that lead to engagement is better than like a giant long post that doesn't get that engagement. And because I want the engagement um, and the interaction between students, you can start a thread if you're familiar. You can start make you make the first post on a thread, and or you can reply to others. I love it when students reply to each other. That's what I'm looking for, is that engagement. Someone posts, someone replies back to that, someone replies to their reply. That's what we're looking for. So you can do you can start 2 threads, you can do 2 replies to other people's threads. That's all great. But I want that engagement. That's what I'm looking for. That's the purpose of this. And again, some of them are fascinating. Some great conversations we've had over the years of doing this. The Now, it's kind of the way it works. This is a running tally. So you're going to start, if you look at your grade, you're going to start, and there'll be 0 points for this. But then at the end of each week, because it's 11:59 p.m. on Friday, come the weekend, I typically, hopefully, Saturday, maybe Sunday, I'll go through and I look to see who did their 2 posts the week before, and I'll give you the 5 points. So it's going to start 0, and then you'll notice, oh, I got my 5 points for this for week 2 when we started it, then 5 for week 3, so it goes from 5 to 10 to 15 to 20. You'll notice it steadily increases over the course of the semester if you're making posts. The and the I was going to say something now. What was it? Oh, you can't. They don't roll over to the next week. You can't make 10 posts in the first week and say, hey, Craig, I want these 10 to count for the next 5 weeks. No, 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 no. It's great if you do, and some students will do lots of posts. Some students really get into this, but it only counts for that week. So if you do 10, thank you very much for being so engaged that week, but you still need to do 2 the following week. So keep that in mind. They don't roll over. You can't build up credit. And this starts in week 2, not the first week, because we still get students adding throughout the first week. So it's starting in week 2. Okay, so that is our discussion forum. Again, don't think it has to be really long. I'm looking for the engagement. I'm looking for the interaction. That's the whole purpose of this. Then we have this social and behavioral research training, or I will refer to it as the IRB, Institutional Review Board training. Um, and in this course, we're learning about research, different types of research, different approaches, and that. Um, but the having ethical standards in the research you're doing is very important. And there's actually training that, as researchers, you have to go through. Every research university has some mechanism for this. That if I'm going to do research, I have to go through training to learn what are the ethical standards of good research. And you learn some of the history and some of the issues of the past and why do we have to have these sorts of trainings. So I think this is perfect for a course like this. So we all go through this training that's online. It's through City, and I've got some instructions and guidance in terms of how to find it. And if you have questions, you can always ask me, of course. Um, the um, and at the end of the training, you get a little certificate you save as a PDF, and all you need to do is upload that certificate to show me you've completed the training. 50 points, you're all done. As you're doing the training, there's quizzes along the way. I don't care what the scores are on the quizzes. I'm just looking, did you finish the training? Is what matters. And then I guess if you bomb all the quizzes, you'll need to keep retaking them. So don't think you can just kind of blow that off. But the scores aren't important. The training, the completion at the end is what we're looking for. Now, if you've already done this and it's active for either another course or because you're working on a project with a professor, upload your certificate. If it's still active, if it's still valid, upload the certificate and you already got it. That's You don't have to redo it for that. Okay. Um, the As I point out here, kind of make sure you get the right training when you log into City. For the training, you'll notice there's several potential options. Make sure you pick the correct one. Okay. Oh, and then finally, you'll notice everybody starts the semester with 20 bonus points. These are true bonus points. It's not part of the 600. They're bonus points that you start with. And my purpose of this is that it it's to give you flexibility for things that may come up during the semester. Um, you can think of how you may want to leverage these any way you want. I know some students like to think about it in the sense of, okay, I'm stressed out about quizzes. But one way of thinking about it is 20 points is enough to move half of my quizzes from a B to an A. Half of them from a B to an A. That takes the stress off of me if I'm stressed about quizzes. Okay, I want to kind of think of those points Craig gave me and I'm gonna apply them. Yeah, you don't actually say anything. It's just added in. You don't have to tell me, oh, I want to use my points for quizzes. No, no, no. It's just they're just thrown in however you use them. But some students like to conceptualize it that way in their head to kind of remove the stress of the quizzes. Or someone might be thinking, someone knows, well, I'm going to be off for a week. Am I going to miss an exercise? I'm going to miss an exercise and I'm going to miss the discussion forum, or do I need to kind of try to squeeze these in somehow? No, no, no. Then they think, oh, wow, if I 20 points, those 20 points are enough to skip two discussion forums and one of the exercises, and I'm still ahead a couple, so that's what it's there for um, is those 20 points. So it's kind of just extra credit for everybody. So I don't have to sit and kind of wrestle with, well, someone's going to miss this. Is that okay? Or do I give them that? Is that okay? And it's like, no, that's what these 20 points are for. It's a freebie for you to kind of use as you need or may need at some point during the class. Okay. Few policies, class policies. Uh, Don't cheat. You're all grad students. I shouldn't have to say this. You all know this. Um, don't give answers to other people. Don't take answers to other people. I do think studying together, study groups are great. That's great, but don't just use it to give each other the answers to quizzes and stuff. Use them as an opportunity to as a teaching opportunity to help each other. explain things in new ways to students, to your colleagues, and that, and uh, yeah, we're all you're all grad students. You know those things. Um, don't fall in the trap of waiting to the last minute to submit things. Because remember, it's time stamped, it's late. And you'll see in the schedule between we finish quiz one and that quiz isn't due for a few weeks. There's lots of time between when we finish the material and when it's due. And that's deliberately to incorporate all the possible issues that can emerge. Um, whether it's internet problems, campus network problems, your laptop gets stolen or broke, or you're on vacation, or you're working, or you're getting married, that's what that I've built in this giant cushion. You should be shooting to submit things. You should be planning to submit things well before that deadline. Because also, for the quizzes at least, you want to make sure you have a chance to do the redos. But there's enough cushion time. You should be submitting things well in advance. If you've got a problem at 11:30 on the night that it's due and you're saying, "Oh, my internet's down," or you come back to me a few days later and said, "Oh, we lost power. I couldn't submit it." My response will be, "That's why you should have submitted it like a week before." That's the issue. Um, so don't, give yourself plenty. Well, and there's also the 20 points. That's what the 20 points are for then, if you want to use them that way. Um, but give yourself plenty of time. Um, the Don't wait to the last minute. Uh, Finally, the kind of policies, and this is a university policy. I can't give an incomplete because you run out of time or you're unhappy with your grade. The university policy is an incomplete. To get an incomplete, you have to finish half the work for the semester, and then all of that work counts. You don't get it. It's not a redo. You don't get to redo it. All of that is put into your final grade, and then you're just finishing up the remainder of the semester. So if you wait till the end of the semester to come and say, I got really sick, I broke my leg, I whatever, 2 months ago, and I missed a whole month of class. Can I get an incomplete? It's like it's too late now because everything up until this conversation counts as your grade. And I understand life gets in the way. Trust me, life has gotten in the way with me more than once. So if something's happening, if you see something may happen, come and talk to me right away. So then we can start to draw that line in the sand and say, okay, going forward, kind of how can we structure this in case you need an incomplete? We can start to develop a plan. Don't wait till the last minute because it's just too late for me to do anything. Okay. Oh, finally, oh yeah. I won't Zoom with you when you're driving. I've had a student one time trying to do office hours holding their cell phone, and I can doing the wheel, and no, no, I won't do that. Other UMaine policies are linked here. Then finally, here's the schedule. You can see for each week kind of what the readings are, what's due at 11:59 p.m. that Friday in terms of quizzes, exercises, and other, which is typically the weekly discussion. And you'll look at that and think, holy crap, that's a lot of stuff, Craig. But keep in mind, those weekly discussions are 2 posts. That's just 2 posts. Should take you a couple minutes, pretty easy and short. I'm not looking for a whole chapter review. Short little comments. I want the purpose of those is to engage each other. See what people are posting, comment about it. That's great. That's what those weekly discussions are for. The exercises, again, if you want, I mean, you can do it on your own. If you want, you can just watch the video with me and you and I can do them together. What's that? 15, 20, 30 minutes to do it together. And we just have a good time learning, practicing those exercises together. So it's, that's very doable. So exercises, the weekly discussions, all very doable. Then it's just the quizzes, and plenty of time to work on the quizzes. Well, let's look. Actually, quiz one is chapter 1, 2, 3, 4, appendix 2. Notice that is due the end of week 6, but we have finished the material for quiz one at the end of week 3. You got 3 weeks to do the quiz. So I think you go in there, you finish at the end of week 3, you go in that weekend, start working on quiz one, and you've got plenty of time to complete the quiz, to start it, go back, rewatch some videos if you want to, because you don't have to finish in one sitting, reread the book a little bit if you need to, submit it, see how you did. If you are unhappy with the grade, you got 3 weeks to email me, ask me questions, watch the stuff again, come to office hours, do another submission if you need to. Take advantage of that lead time that I'm building into that for doing the redos. Okay, so that's a lot. If you've got questions, hope that helps to clarify things, kind of emphasize how to succeed in this course. If you got questions, again, shoot me an email. Happy to talk. Okay, semester. All right, take care. Bye bye.